Hi, it's Fisher from Sewmate. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to be showing you how to draft a shirt sleeve pattern with a cuff, pleats and plackets. So what you need is your basic shirt sleeve block pattern. I've got a tutorial on this channel on how you can make one. I'll leave a link in the description below and a link above. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. I'll be uploading more videos, so don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you get notified each time I upload new videos. So let's get started. First, trace around the block as usual, making sure to mark all the notches. Lift your block. Square in your grain line. Draw in your elbow line and your hemline or wrist line. Cut around the pattern. Next, we're going to outline the seam allowances for our underarm seams here. I've got 1.5 centimeters, so I'm just gonna do that to both sides now. We're going to have a cuff width of 5 centimeters, so we're going to have to take it out from the wrist coming up, okay? 5 centimeters. So we're not using this line anymore. Next, we're going to measure the length of our new hemline here, excluding the seam allowances, okay? So I've got 36 centimeters. I'll just write it down here. So we need to adjust this length to fit in with the length of the cuff that we're going to be making for our sleeve. So the length of the cuff is equivalent to our around hand measurement. To get the around hand measurement, just get your tape measure and just measure around your hand like this. Okay? Whatever amount you get, take note of it. So my around hand measurement is 22 centimeters. So what we need to do is to adjust this length to fit with the 22 centimeters we have. So we have to find the difference between the two numbers and then we adjust our sleeve according to that difference we get. So we're going to say 36 centimeters, which is the length that we have here, and then we're going to subtract your around hand measurement, okay? So I'm getting 14 centimeters for mine. So what we're going to do is to distribute the difference to both sides. So we've got to divide this number by 2, so I get 7 centimeters. So what this means is that we're going to take off 7 centimeters from each side, okay? My block has seam allowances added already, so what I'm going to do is just to measure from the outside part here going in 7 centimeters. If your block doesn't have seam allowances, just measure from the edge of your block going in with the difference that you get for yours, okay? So mine is 7 centimeters. Put a mark. Do the same on the other side. 7 centimeters. Put a mark. I'll be including 2 pleats on my shirt sleeve pattern, so I'm going to use 3 centimeters for each pleat. So what I'm gonna do is to come out from this point that we marked 3 centimeters on each side, okay, so that we have our 2 pleats. So from this point, 3 centimeters out, put a mark. Do the same on this side, 3 centimeters, put a mark. Next, we're going to blend this point to the elbow line with a straight line and do the same on this side, this outer point to the elbow line, okay? So before we cut the excess out, we have to fold back along the seam allowance for the back side of our sleeve. So my sleeve has got notches to show the front and the back. So the front has 1 notch, the back has 2 notches. So come to the back side of your sleeve and just fold your seam allowance back. Next, we're going to locate our quarter line for the back side of our sleeve. So the easiest way is to get the edge here and align it to the grain line for both the top and bottom. And make a crease line at the bottom part here. Now we're going to come to this crease line we just made and draw a straight line. From this point here going down, we're going to measure 1.5 centimeters and put a mark. 1.5, put a mark. So this is where our pleat is going to be for our shirt sleeve. So you can have a pleat of about 7 centimeters to 10 centimeters. I'll be using 7.5 centimeters for this tutorial, okay? So measure from this point going up, 7.5 centimeters. 7.5, put a mark. So I'm just putting an O punch to show that this is the end of my split. So next we're coming to the bottom part here. From this point here we marked, we have to try and draw a nice curve which passes through here and blends back into the front part of our sleeve. Let's do that. Now with your curved ruler, try to correct this curve. Next we're going to put in our pleats for our shirt sleeve. So we're going to include 2 3-centimeter pleats. So come to the split line here, measure 2.5 centimeters from the split line towards the right side or towards the front part of the sleeve. 2.5 centimeters, put a notch. This is where our first pleat is going to start. So our pleat is 3 centimeters. So 3 centimeters from here, put another notch. We're going to leave a gap of 2 centimeters between the 2 pleats. So from this notch, we're going to measure 2 centimeters and put another notch. Then measure another 3 centimeters from here for the second pleat. 3 centimeters, put another notch. So what we did is we left 2.5 centimeters and put 3 centimeters for a pleat. Left a gap of 2 centimeters and added another 3 centimeters for our second pleat. So our pleats will be folding towards the back of the shirt sleeve, okay? That way. Next we're going to add a seam allowance at the bottom here. I'm going to be using 1 centimeter. So just follow through the new curve there. Next, transfer these notches to the bottom edge here on our seam allowance. Now we're going to fold our pleats the way they're supposed to lie. So we're going to take the second notch here and bring it to the first knot. Tap it down. Next we're going to take the last notch and bring it to this notch here. Tap it down as well. Now we're going to correct this shape here. And we're going to cut the bottom line. Now open the pleats. So as you can see, we now have a nice shape for our pleats here, okay? So now we're going to cut along these lines here that we adjusted to remove the excess that we don't need for our sleeve. So we're going to be using our original grain line here for the sleeve. and labeling the pattern, shirt sleeve, cut one pair, and I put my initial. So the sleeve is finished. Next we're going to make our cuff. Okay, so we've got a cuff width of 5 centimeters. So the only measurement you need is the around hand measurement, and you also need to know your placket finished width. Okay, so for my placket, my finished width is going to be 2.5 centimeters. Okay, so those are the two things you need to know. Get yourself a pattern paper and fold it in half. Now from the fold line, measure for our cuff width, which is 5 centimeters, and square a line. Now square a line down from one end of your line there. So next we're going to measure from this point for our around hand measurement. Mine is 22 centimeters, so I'm just gonna measure from here 22 centimeters. Square another line down. From this point, we're going to add an extension, which is going to be equivalent to our placket width. So 2.5 centimeters from this line, and just draw another line down. Now I'm going to add seam allowances right round. I'll be using 1 centimeter. Now cut around your pattern. Now open your pattern piece and just transfer all these lines across to the other side. I'm just going to add some notches onto my pattern piece. Just drawing the grain line in the middle of my pattern piece. And labeling the pattern, shirt cuff, cut one pair, plus one pair fusing. And I put my initial. When it comes to sewing, make sure to cut your fusing pieces just up to halfway, okay? Our shirt cuff is finished. Now we're moving on to making the plackets for the shirt sleeve. So our placket is going to have two pattern pieces, the under placket and the placket itself. For my under placket, I wanted to have a finished width of 1.5 centimeters. And the placket is going to have a width of 2.5 centimeters when it's finished. Okay, so let's start with the under placket. For the under placket, you only need to know your finished width, which is 1.5 centimeters for me, and you also need to know your split length. Remember the split length that we put here, I used 7.5 centimeters, so you need to take note of that, 7.5 centimeters. So first draw a straight line on your paper, square a line on one end, now we're going to measure 3 centimeters from this point going up and draw another straight line. Next we're going to measure from this point for our split length, which is 7.5 centimeters. Square line up. Next I'm going to add seam allowances to my pattern piece. So this side and these two sides I'm going to put 1 centimeter, and the other end I'm putting 1.5 centimeters. So with our shirt sleeve here, as you can see, this part here with a smaller seam allowance, which is 1 centimeter, is going to be sewn along this seam allowance here, and this bigger part is going to cover the back of our split right here. Okay, so now cut around the pattern. Now I'm just going to add some notches. Adding a grain line in the middle. And labeling the pattern under placket. Cut one pair. And I put my initial. Next we're going to make the placket itself. So get a pattern paper and fold it in half like this. Square a straight line on one end and square a line that's equivalent to our finished width, which is 2.5 centimeters. Square a line across. Okay, now we're going to measure from this point for the length of our split, which is 7.5 centimeters for me. So 7.5, and I put a mark here. And I'm going to square a line down from there. Now from this point, we're going to measure 2 centimeters and put another line. From this line, we're going to measure a further 1 centimeter and square a line down as well. So next, measure this line and mark halfway. And we're going to draw straight lines to connect to that point. This part here, which is 7.5, and this is 2 centimeters, and this is a further 1 centimeter. So the 7.5 is the one that's gonna cover the split length, and this part here is our outside design for the placket. Okay, you can choose to leave yours just as a square, so you can actually end here. Okay, so now I'm going to add seam allowances right round. I'm just going to use 1 centimeter all round. Okay, now cut around the pattern piece. Next, open your pattern piece and just transfer the lines across to the other side. Now I'm just going to add my grain line in the middle of my pattern piece. And labeling the pattern sleeve placket. Cut to unfold. So we'll be folding it this way like this. Okay, remember that. Now I'm just going to add the notches. Now I'm going to apply all the notches onto our pattern pieces. Okay, so all our pattern pieces for the shirt sleeve are finished, which include the shirt sleeve, the shirt cuff, and the placket pieces. Thank you.